Sometimes when we want to buy something, it may cost a little bit more money than what we have on hand. And in that case, we can still make the purchase if we take out an installment loan. With an installment loan, we repay the loan with regular payments, maybe monthly payments, and in order to borrow the money, we have to also pay back some interest on the amount of money that we borrowed. So suppose we want to buy a car, and when we look at the cars, we find the perfect car for us. There's only one problem. When we look at the price tag, we realize that we don't have all the money that we need to buy the car. Well, that's not a problem. We can still pay that amount of money that we have in the form of a down payment, but we need the rest of the money to buy the car. To get the rest of the money, we might go to a bank and take out a loan. When we go to the bank, we have to explain to them how much money we need. So we say, look, we need this much money to buy the car. Would you be willing to loan that to us? And the bank says, sure, we can loan you that money. But here's the thing. When you pay this money back, you're going to have to pay back that money. That's the principal. But you also have to pay back a little more money. That's the interest. Interest is just the cost of borrowing the money. So, how does this work? You get the car, but what did it really cost you? So let's think about it. You paid a down payment. That was the money you had originally. You borrowed the principal from the bank. Now the principal and the down payment together make up the cost of the car, but you also had to pay interest to the bank. So in all, those three things added together are the total cost of your purchase. We call that the total installment price. Now what happens when you pay back the loan? Well, the down payment, that was what you paid to the car dealer as part of the payment on the car, is not something that you pay back to the bank. Because what you borrowed from the bank was the principal, and you had to pay back the interest, which is the cost of borrowing the money. So the principal plus the interest is really how much you're having to pay back to the bank. Now you pay that back in monthly payments. So if you divide that by the number of months that you pay the loan back, you'll find out how much each individual monthly payment to the bank is going to be. So let's look at an example. Ben bought a $20,000 car. He made a 10% down payment and financed the rest with a 4-year loan that charged 8% simple interest. What was his monthly payment? So let's look at it in terms of the essential information we need for this problem. He has a $20,000 car that he's buying. He's making a 10% down payment, and he's getting a 4-year loan that charged 8% simple interest. Now, in terms of the 3 parts of the costs that we talked about before, we can first figure out what the down payment was. It was 10% of the cost of the car. So 10% times $20,000 is $2,000. So he paid $2,000 down to the car dealer. The difference between that and how much the car cost is how much he has to borrow from the bank. That's the principal. So he's going to borrow $18,000 from the bank. And for the interest, because this is simple interest, we'll use our simple interest formula that interest is principal times rate times time, and find out that the interest is the $18,000 that he borrowed times the 8% simple interest rate times 4 years, which is $5,760. Now the question was, what are his monthly payments? Remember, he only has to pay back the principal and the interest. He's not paying back the down payment. So we take the total of what he has to pay back, the principal plus the interest, and we divide that by the number of months that he's paying. So 4 years times 12 months per year is 48 months, and we get a monthly payment of $495. Here's a second example. Erin bought a $24,000 car. She made a 20% down payment and financed the rest with a 4-year loan. Her monthly payments were $424. What was the finance charge for the loan? Now focus on the words finance charge. When you see those words, think interest. That's all finance charge is. So this problem is asking us to find how much interest she paid to the bank. So the essential information we have for this problem is that it was a $24,000 car. She made a 20% down payment. It was a 4-year loan, and she made $424 in monthly payments. So let's think of it in terms of those 3 parts of this problem that we talked about before. There's a down payment, there's principal that she borrowed, and there's interest that she paid back to the bank as well. The down payment was 20% of the cost of the car. So 20% times $24,000 is a down payment of $4,800. The principal is the additional amount of money she had to borrow from the bank to pay for the car. So the car cost $24,000. She already paid $4,800 for a down payment, which means she still has to borrow $19,200 from the bank. Now here's the catch with this problem. The interest is not going to be found the same way as the last problem, and that's because we don't know the simple interest rate. We know something else. We know that her monthly payments were $424. So, once again, if we're thinking about how much she's paying back to the bank, she's not paying back the down payment. So we're going to ignore that now. And we'll think about those monthly payments of $424. We said that to figure out the monthly payment, you have to take the principal plus the interest and then divide it by the number of months. Well, we know what the principal is, but we don't know what the interest is. So, to get that monthly payment of $424, we take whatever this principal plus interest is and divide it by 48, which means the principal plus the interest has to be 48 times the $424, or $20,352. Now remember, principal plus interest equals that amount of money, and we already know what the principal is. It's $19,200. So $19,200 plus the interest is $20,352, which means the interest had to be $1,152.